Welcome back. Okay, so now that you've edited together both your long shot and close-up footage, we're going to weave the best of these two camera angles together, creating a much more dynamic and interesting video for your audience to watch. And in the coming days, if you watch a movie or TV show, notice how many cut shots they take and how often they do it. There's a real art to keeping your audience entertained and their minds engaged, with the cameras constantly moving and changing angles. Soon you too will have these skills and knowledge to create equally entertaining media. It just takes practice, practice, and more practice. So let's get started.
Okay, so there we have it. So we've got these two scenes. Now we want to bring them together. So again, we'll create a new sequence. And we'll call this Act 3 compiled. And then we'll bring in our long shot. Well, actually first here, we're going to bring these into Act 3 folder. Just like keep it all organized. There we go. So our long shot comes in. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to double click close up. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to copy the pieces that we want into our compiled shot, which has the nice long shot all by itself. And the reason we don't just put it into our long shot is because we're going to want to add camera motion to this long shot. And again, just like the reason we nested the background, we're going to want to do that with the long shot too, because it's a lot easier to add scale and position markers and animate this all together as one when it's nested. And we'll get into that in a little bit. So we start watching the shot.
And I believe that the future of education belongs to the artists and entrepreneurs of our world.
Okay, so right there is where I want to bring a close-up. So come over to my close-up.
Future of education belongs to the artists and entrepreneurs of our world.
Great, so I'm going to zoom in, find out where the next word comes in. So these little parts are usually breaths, and those are good to not to cut. You want to keep those somewhat in, because if you cut your breath, it takes away some of the naturalness. So what I'm going to do is shift and cut.
You see, there's a very big problem in one of the fastest growing industries on the internet. The dropout rate for students joining online courses is somewhere between 70 and 97%.
Great. I'm going to cut that there. I select, copy that, use my Control C on my keyboard, come over here, and when we want to place these things, this is where these toggle track targeting buttons come in handy. So what we want to do is move this, because if these were all selected, it's going to paste onto all these tracks starting at 1, but we already have something there. So I'm going to unclick those, and when I paste, it pastes into the next available tracks. So that's a nice little feature. But what we want to do first, so I'm going to undo that.
You see, entrepreneurs of our world.
We're going to bring the marker to exactly where we want. And as you notice, we cannot see any audio here. So if that's happening for you, we come up here to sequence and you click render audio. It takes a second, and then it renders your audio, and now you can see it again.
Entrepreneurs of our world.
So there's that breath. So this is a good spot right here. So I'm going to paste right here. And I'm going to cut this out. I'm going to delete this piece so it's not interrupting
our world. You see, there's a very big problem in one of the fastest growing industries on the internet. The dropout rate for students joining online courses is somewhere between 70 and 97%.
Great, so that looked nice. but now we've got a little bit of a gap. So that's okay. What we do is we come to the next part.
Now think about it. If
So we'll see. Okay, so fingers are together. No, fingers aren't together here, but they do here. So if I do a nice hard cut, take that out. I'm going to open this up and see what happens next. Create some space so I can see. So what's kind of a fun way to edit together is you got to think of these as if you were a camera director sitting somewhere in a camera director's booth with a bunch of buttons in front of you pressing between a live camera feed of camera 1, camera 2, camera 3. And you're not always going to push the camera change button in between in these valleys. And so sometimes you can actually get away with blending right in between. And I often do that to create a really nice effect and help blend the hand motions. So right here, my hands are starting to come apart. You come over here where we're trying to match. The hands are coming apart. So what I'm going to try to do is have him say now here. Open that up. Right here. You can hear the now. And he starts doing the TH of the think. And that's where the I comes in. So I'm going to cut here. And we're just going to see what this looks like. It might work, it might not. I never know until I try. The I comes in right there. I'll delete that. I'm going to select all of this. Now be careful, if you just select this and move it, and you had edits further downstream, you're going to take that apart. If there was an edit here, for example, let's say you had an edit, cut there and a cut there, and now you're making edits upstream, and you take this piece and you move it, then you just ruined here and create more work for yourself. So if you do have something like this, what you can do is you go A for select all, and you can either select one track by pushing shift, or you can select all tracks by just leaving it open. Everything from this point downstream is going to be selected. Then I can push my V key and move it into place, and therefore everything was taken. So again, that A button is a nice option to select rather than just selecting one. Selects all. Good, but we don't need that, so I'm just going to extend it again. There we go. Just a little word on that. And let's try it out.
Now think about it. If college
between
70 and 97%. Now think about it. If colleges and universities,
I think that tricks the eye pretty darn good. I mean, his hand is a little further, so maybe it might even be better to bring this right to now, the beginning of where he says now.
Now think about it. Now think about it. If
Oh, that's even better now. Look.
Now think about it.
His hands are coming apart. So that's enough to keep the eye looking like
and 97%. Now think about it.
Cool. I'm happy with that. And then we just continue. We keep going downstream, just looking for those places to start putting in our second shot. So continue.
At dropout rates like that, they would all be shutting down.
I'll do one more for you.
Now let's just do an experiment. By show of hands, how many of you...
Okay, so there's a good example. Right there is an awkward edit. So I want to cover that with this other shot. So I go into my close-up and find that spot.
Now think about it. If colleges and universities has ever signed up for a course...
Okay, so again, where exactly are we looking?
By a show of hands.
By a show of hands.
Now let's just do an experiment. By a show of hands.
Okay, So here we go. So
Experiment.
So what I look at is, what is he actually doing? So at the beginning, his hands are open and it goes up. Left hand goes up into pointing a finger. I come over here. So this is kind of an interesting thing. You can see he's using his opposite finger up. That's going to throw the eye pretty good. So these are little details that you want to be, as an editor, a really good editor, to pay attention and have fun kind of getting into that sort of details. So what I'm going to want to do is find out, okay, where is he? His hands are together. Okay, by a show of hands. Okay, so his hands, this might work. So I'm going to clip that.
Or a webinar and not completed it.
Cut that. We'll copy. So copy that, bring it on over. Okay, I'm going to paste there. Clip this on out.
By show of hands, let's do an experiment. By show of hands, all...
Yeah, I think that's pretty good. I don't know if anyone's going to really notice. His hands are moving, so you never know where they're going to go next. There's a little bit of movement. And then the movement up, I think, might give away. It's not perfect, but it works. Just watch it.
Now let's just do an experiment. By show of hands, all the people in this room...
I think that's fine.
Completed it. That looks...
So his hands are open and then he's got his finger up. It might work.
That looks to be about...
Not too bad. I could spend more time trying to make this just right. I'm not going to. I'm going to carry on so we don't make this lesson 4 or 5 hours long. But yeah, that's pretty much the idea. So what you're going to want to do is kind of move through your whole shot and try to find those points. And it might be a good way to start is just find where those awkward edits are and try to fit those around first. And that will give you a nice blocking to what you need to create using the other shots. And there might be times where you have to get extra creative with covering up those spots because, God forbid, you might have an awkward edit in both your shots. And that's where the third take and third angle really comes in handy at that point. And because chances are of having an awkward edit at the exact same spot over 3 shots is very small. So I'm going to leave you there to play with your edits. Have fun. It does take a little more time than you might think, but this is just part of the magic.